Is there a network? Is there like a bunch of clubs where bands can different places?
Yeah, there's tons of you know, warehouses with the worst PA ever that don't charge anything, and you can get a beer for $1. So anybody can do a show, and even the regular clubs don't charge anything anymore in Baltimore. You can't. It's hard to get a show, and there's a lot of cheap places to live. All that stuff makes for the ingredients of being able to just say, hey, why don't the three of us later on go play over at, you know, Death by Audio, and Greg can play the accordion and you can shake your head and I'll clap.
You know, it's not that far-fetched. I mean, not me playing accordion, but what you just said. Dan Deacon actually compared Baltimore of now to the East Side, Lower East Side of New York in the 70s, where there was a lot of cheap places to live. I mean, basically like no rent, you know, squatters type existence that allowed these people to create music, live cheaply, musicians, artists, and have spaces for parties, which became shows, drawing hundreds of people, and suddenly there became this sort of culture that I think now that Baltimore's sort of been discovered, you wonder how long that's going to last, but it was sort of an incubator for the scene, and it seemed like you describe exactly that happening around CBGB's and Lower East. I mean, you and Tina and Chris were living a block or two away, and it seemed like a doable goal for you guys. Hey, we could play in that dive because they're booking bands,
exactly.
Weird bands, and it worked for you guys.
Rent was cheap. You could have a part-time day job, and you shared it. Yeah, it was enough to pay the rent.
So, does the opportunity exist now, Bettina? Do you think for? I mean, you said that sort of regionalism is important. And I guess those factors are still important. Like cheap places to live, like-minded individuals able to create together. It sounds like exactly what you walked into in Chicago and sort of started documenting that scene.
Yeah, there's still lots of warehouse spaces, and I went to see this band Thou play, and I hadn't heard. I was like, oh, I haven't heard that club. They must do a lot of metal shows. I don't know. I better get there early. It's going to for sure sell out. It was a kid's basement. I'm sure they were like, what's Grandma doing here? But it was awesome, and that's the kind of, those shows are great. It was humid. The ceiling was like an inch above my head. But I think that's where you can. I think you have to be able to be a rock star somewhere, and if it's in your basement, that's great. And then people compete with each other. Wow, David shaved his beard. I'm gonna go up there and do something even more outrageous. It kind of feeds on itself. It's the most fun, I think.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. What else we got? Any